Anetons, connecting professionals.
All right, so are we good to start? It's 12:05 now.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just checking Vimla if she joined or not.
Aniket is joining in 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. And Chidam, can you check with Vimla if she's joining?
Yeah.
I think
I messaged her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just.
For me also, I'm also waiting a response. Well, otherwise we will start. If so, I'm just wait for 2 more minutes. Otherwise, we're good to start.
Yeah, Vimla is trying to join, so she will be in 2 minutes.
Okay, right. Let other people to join. It's almost 12:08, so not gonna wait for more time. All right, so today we will understand about the integration. Okay, how does integration work? So yesterday we worked on the graph, Intune Graph API. Okay, we understood how Intune interacts, and through Graph API, how we can pull up the API calls, how we can run the queries, and how we can interact with, how we can okay, so yesterday we learned how can we interact with Microsoft Intune with API calls using Graph API. Okay, so we were making a direct REST API calls, okay, using invoke REST method command, using get and put, patch, delete, okay, all sort of commands we were using that. And version 1.0 and beta, those two versioning we were using to interact and sending the REST API calls and invoking those data in the JSON format. So there was one more thing that I need to tell, that yesterday when we were populating the results from the Graph API Explorer, so in the back end, if you go to developer options, okay, by pressing the F12 button on the keyboard, like if you're using a Chrome or Internet Explorer, Edge, whatever, so you can invoke that developer option. So in the network, you can see all sort of queries which are running, which whatever the traffic is being executed, we can trace it out using the developer option in the network tab. So in the network tab, we can see whatever queries we are running, okay, on the console directly on Microsoft Intune. The same is being tracked and traced in this. So either, if you like, three ways: either you go through directly from the console, okay, you create things over there, or you can use the Graph API, Graph Explorer. Through that, you can also interact with Microsoft Intune, or there is another way which is called PowerShell. Okay, so PowerShell also communicate using the Intune Graph API. Okay, this is especially Microsoft Graph uses the PowerShell SDK, or it directly using the REST API calls, it interacts with with Intune. Okay, and we can see, we can do numerous things with the script using PowerShell, and we can interact with Microsoft Intune. But here the catch is, you need to authenticate using your tenant ID. You need to authenticate and authorize your PowerShell SDK, that so it can interact with REST API, and you can perform also all sort of things using the script. Okay, so let's click here. So first of all, how the integration will work. So primarily Microsoft Graph API is the one which is core responsible, and then Intune PowerShell SDK. Okay, these two things enable us, like administrators, to automate, manage, and report on Intune managed devices and configurations. Okay, so we can do certain things, like if we want, we can create configuration profiles, we can create device categories, we can create terms and condition, and so many things, like using this PowerShell. And there are tons of the scripts which are available with Intune Gallery, okay, that we will explore, and we using that we can automate numerous things with this. Okay, so if we talk about the Microsoft Graph API using PowerShell, so first thing what we need to do, we need to authenticate. Okay, so authenticating means you need to enable your connect Microsoft Graph, okay, and Microsoft PowerShell SDK to both authenticate and communicate with each other. Without the communication, without the authentication, the communication will not be established. Okay. Second thing is we talked about the query Intune. So using the Graph API endpoints, like when you're dealing with when you're talking to device management, for example, if you are just wanting to pull the device information, so for these endpoints we require this Graph API. Okay, that is how we can connect with Intune and we can query the data. So yesterday we already talked about it. When you do the get, so we fetch all sort of information from API using the REST API in the JSON format using the OData, and we receive those when the when the success code is coming as 200, means the query is successfully ran and we got the data. Okay, when you are modifying any configuration, for example, if you want to create or update any policies, you are setting up your own app in the Intune, okay, and you want to set some configuration for that. So with so with that, you can use that PowerShell and you can interact with these configuration and profiles as well. Okay, so for this, what we require a Microsoft Graph Intune module, okay, or we can have a Microsoft Graph in SDK, which is newer. Okay, so we will try to install this module in our tenant. It's first time I'm doing for this tenant, so this is where we will import the module. I'll show you where to download and where to get all these imported, and how do we set the communication, and how the PowerShell using the Graph API will connect through the REST API, make the REST API calls, and we'll get the data using the invoke REST method. Okay, so this is how the Graph API works. Second thing is, when these SDKs, so these SDKs provides the CMD lets. Okay, if you guys are aware about the PowerShell, so everything in command lets, so we have small commands which is called as CMD lets. Okay, using that we interact with the Graph APIs, and we ensures that yes, whatever queries we are running, we are getting the abstract knowledge or abstract information about that. Okay, so using this install, we will do install of Microsoft Graph API Graph module, and having this first, then we will have a connect MS Graph. So using this command, we need to provide the login credential for the tenant. Okay, and then we will run this. Maybe for this command, if you run, so we will get to see all the managed devices from the Intune in our PowerShell. Okay, so this is what we need to perform, and then we need to connect to MS Graph. So why we require a script? Like if I say we need to deploy a script. Okay, so why this script is required? So a script is something which contains all set of instructions, okay, that we need to perform on endpoint machines. Okay, so we write those instructions in the script, and then we upload that script in the PowerShell, and then we perform this, we target this to the device groups, and we ensures that whatever configuration, whatever installing softwares, or if there is any remediation issues, then we can inject all those actions in that script, and then we can deploy that. So what it does, it automatically runs on those machines. Okay, and it pulls the data, simplifies things, fixes the problem, install the software, and all so many things, and number of things that the script can perform. So it depends upon what is the requirement and what is the logic that you are embedding in that script. Okay, so we are just going to execute a couple of scripts today, and we will see how the outcome works, and how the PowerShell is, how we can utilize this entity, this tool, to gauge the data from Intune. Okay, so next is reporting. So if you are more focused on reporting side, if you need to export the compliance reports, if you need to know about the deployment of your application, how does that work, And if you are looking for the configuration profiles, especially for the monitoring, like you need to be sure that yes, whatever configuration that you have set in your Intune, are those being followed, and all those devices which are being targeted are those devices are absolutely getting those configuration profiles. So for the auditing purpose, for maybe if there is integration of Power BI, all these things that you can utilize through PowerShell. Okay, so PowerShell is very much robust, very much powerful for the automation, and I have so many scripts which are there to create so many things, using the PowerShell. But currently we are not going to that in depth, not we are indulged in that pro level. We are just talking about the basics, and then I'll leave it to you guys to explore the modules and explore the couple of scripts at your end and see in your tenant how things work. Okay, so that is how you will come up with the questions, and I can help you with the answering those. So first thing, for example, if I am setting up a script where I'm more interested to look for the managed devices data. Okay, so here we need to set up scope. I hope you guys remember yesterday we were consenting couple of permissions, okay, for individually when we are running for devices or configuration profiles, policies, or other stuff. So every commandlets or every query, there is permission associated with that. So we need to scope for this, for device management, especially for managed devices. I'm scoping this MS graph so I can get the permission. Okay, then in the devices variable, okay, I'm saving all these managed devices content, and then in the devices, all these devices, I am only specially uh, I am looking out of which, all these devices I am filtering out. Okay, I've let me zoom in, that will be more easier. Okay, so out of this devices variable, okay, we are using a pipe. We are selecting the object which is device name, operating system, and compliance state. Okay, so in managed devices we are getting so many things which are being stored. So all the information which is being available here, which is being stored here in the devices. Okay, devices variable. So using this ton of the data, okay, out of which we are filtering it out, or we are piping only this data which is available. So we are more interested in device name, operating system, and compliance state. Okay, so this is the one of the script or one of the query that we can perform, we can use in PowerShell. Okay, with integration, if I say with the scripts and SDK, how do we connect? So yesterday I talked about this particular website. Yesterday, I think you guys, I'll give you this in the document. So after once I upload this to website, you will get to see all the supporting documents in that. I'll show you today as well. So in that, first, this is where you see all sort of your sample scripts which are available for Intune. We can use it, okay, and we can run all those, and we can tweak, and we can see, identify what is the outcome is coming, and if the outcome is not favorable, maybe we can try out changing some sort of set of instructions and variables, and see how does that work. Okay, and first we will, this is where you see all sort of your scripts which are available, and this is where you see the integration. Okay, so we need to integrate this, and this is where the page we need to especially go for the releases. Okay, and in this release, if I show you 1 second, so this is the file, okay, which we are going to download. Okay, so this will come in this release link. So for all these PowerShell SDK, there are various versions which keeps on changing, that is called as release. Okay, so every new SDK which is being available, that is coming as release 1, release 2. So all these variations which are being fine tuned and coming in the next variation, that is called releases. Okay, so here we will go and download this particular release and we will install it. We will import in our PowerShell module, then we'll connect through the Microsoft Graph API, and then we'll start doing the scripting and we'll see how does thing work. Okay, so any questions so far? Are we good to proceed further?
Vaibhav, this is Lakshmi here.
Yeah, yes, Lakshmi.
Actually, so using this, sorry, what do you call it, graph, right?
I
So use
think
graph,
someone is
we are
talking in the background. Is that you, Lakshmi?
using if no, no, sir. Sorry, something is. I'm not sure. Vaibhav, I think you. Am I audible clearly now?
Yes, you are audible. I think there was a background noise. Go on.
Yeah, nothing. So when we are using this JSON format, so it will the output will be generated with the JSON format, right?
Yes.
If you want to export more number of devices and device ID and the respective users, right? So can we get any CSV or Excel format instead of JSON using graph?
Means you don't want JSON format.
Yeah, JSON format, it will be like a text format, right? So if we want to segregate or filter something and we want to send the reports to client, it will be difficult, right?
So PowerShell we can achieve that. If you don't want JSON in PowerShell, we can achieve that through the CSV format. When you are exporting any thing from the Microsoft Graph API, right? This is what the question is, right? So yes. So for example, if I say if I go to previous one, okay, here we were talking about. Let's do it like this. Wait a second. Let me type here. So if I say, what happened this? Okay, for example, this is all. Okay, we are flagging all the devices. Now we want only devices which in this compliance. So what we will do, we will simply, I'll type here. Okay, so what we can do, we can have a pipe here. Okay, pipe command, and then we can have export. Okay, and then export in CSV, then we can give a path. Okay, for example, Intune devices dot CSV or CSV, and then we can have something like no type information. Okay, so what it will do, all these devices which are being piped and we are getting these info, this is where we can export these in CSV format. This is what you're looking for, right?
Yes,
So if you are dealing for example, if you are dealing with more than 1,000 devices, okay, so paging in SDK, paging will be handled automatically. So when you're using this all command, okay, it might be like you're using more than 5,000 of devices. Okay, so what you can do, you can narrow down using this filter. Okay, using this filter you can narrow down things and then you can export those into export CSV format and then give the path and then give the file name where you want to save it. Okay, so this is we can achieve through PowerShell. Okay, now we are going to install the PowerShell SDK. So this is a website which is called github/Microsoft, then Microsoft PowerShell SDK. So this is, we need to go and scroll down. This is where you will see one-time setup GitHub. Okay, so this is what we need to perform in this video. So take a look that in this page or one-time setup, we are more focused on releases. Okay, so releases tab will show us the latest and greatest available GitHub code, okay, or module of PowerShell SDK, and net 471 is a folder which is relevant for Windows. Okay, so we need to extract that. So let's click on release, and so here you see in the asset tab, you will see this is the latest 1907 update, and this is the latest zip file which contains all sort of module for Intune PowerShell. So we just need to download. I did already download, so it's showing right there. And now if you like, I'll start from the beginning. If you go to Eve drive where I have saved this file, this is the zip file of that PowerShell SDK. Okay, so first, this is zip file we need to extract. So just right click on this file and choose extract all. Okay, this one we need to choose. So extract all, and then this will come outside of this zip file, and it will come in here, okay, in this folder. So you need to double click on this folder, then go to drop, then output, and then go to build and release. Under that we have this folder named net 471. Okay, this folder is for Windows. So if you are doing this on Windows, you need to go to net 471. Okay, now let's copy the path. Okay, right click and copy, and go to the PowerShell. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Let's close everything. Let's search for PowerShell. Right click on PowerShell ISE and launch it. Okay, then let's go to that path, so cd, and then paste that path which you copied from the back folder, and let me expand it to view it more clearly, and then enter. Then write import module. Okay, in this import module, when you type import module and backslash dot means the current directory, and then backslash Microsoft Graph Intune. Okay, so Microsoft Graph Intune is the module which we are going to import here. Okay, so let's select this Intune PST1, and let's, so I just wanted to show you completely here so you don't go and do mistake. Microsoft Graph Intune PST1. Okay, so this is the module which we are going to import for Intune, right? So this is the one, if you can see in the folder, this is the folder, and this is the file which we are going to import as a module, okay, in our PowerShell. So let's enter, and it asked me to run this, so it asked twice to run this, and I'll run it one and then run once two, so two times I did. Now it seems like there is some dependency or some issues here, means could not load the file assembly or something like that. So let's clear this message and let's try again. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me close this, and wait a second, I think I did already install, but never mind. Let's try doing this in a different way. Okay, we will try here executing the execution policy. We will remove the execution, and then we will install the Microsoft Graph. Okay, so this is a module which is upgraded version of SDK. Okay, and then that we version 1 module we are going to import in our PowerShell. So let's copy this and go to ISE, PowerShell ISE again. Okay, let me launch it again. So we'll start again fresh. This time we are doing it in PowerShell. Okay, PowerShell ISE. So I have copied this command and I've entered. Now let's wait. It will automatically start downloading and uploading all sort of modules which are there in Microsoft Graph. Okay, so it takes approx 30 seconds or something, and then it populates all sort of directories. So it depends upon your internet speed, and it's not that big file, it's really small, but it's divided in multiple chunks. So all those chunks gets automatically downloaded from internet, and then those are injected in your PowerShell. So that is how these modules helps you to interact with Intune module and Intune from different phase of Intune, this is how we interact with the repository. So it's all coming from PS Gallery, this repository, and this Microsoft Graph is almost, about to start downloading all sort of uh, relevant repositories. So just wait for 2-3 minutes. I'm not sure. I mean, I have a good internet, but I think I did already install it in the backend, so it might overwrite all those, and it is might taking a little time. Maybe now it started. So you see that the first is authentication repository package. Okay, that is installed. Then there is application packages which are getting downloaded, and then there is a Microsoft Graph bookings, then backup restore calendar, and change notification cloud communications, and graph compliance. Then we have cross devices.cloud print, and corporate management device.corporate management. This is the entire Intune, all sort of device configuration, device service accounts, device management. These all are modules which are installing. Then device management dot administration packages they're installing now, and directory objects Microsoft Graph dot education packages installing now. Then files packages installing, which is quite huge, is 31 MB, and that's I think the biggest size currently which is being downloaded. So all sort of relevant files which relates to Microsoft Graph and other activities groups is installing. Identity and directory management, governance, which is 18.55 MB package file, that is also getting downloaded. Identity.governance and identity.signins, this is getting downloaded. And Microsoft Graph.mail, and people, personal contacts, reports, search, security, all sort of packages are getting downloaded. So it is like Microsoft Graph is taking overall all sort of packages which are available with it. We are installing. So just to avoid any dependency, or just to making sure that yes, every package is installed to run the Intune smoothly. The integration is smoothly. So that's why we are taking all sort of available packages with this. So almost done. We are almost completing this. All the packages are being installed and now done. So we are good with all the packages, all Microsoft Graph packages now. So let's check whether these modules got successfully installed or not. Okay, so we just gonna verify the installation. So this is the verification, and this is the command which we are going to execute and check like yes, Microsoft Graph is successfully installed. So let's go and put this command and press enter, and we will see that yes, Microsoft Graph from PS Gallery repository is successfully installed. All right. So okay, so all we will check the submodules as well. If the submodules and the other versions which we saw installing during the completion, and we'll see if that all works fine. So yes, we are good. We are golden. Everything is perfectly fine and aligned with us. So these are the prereqs which we did complete. Okay, in case if you need to uninstall the SDK, you can perform this and you can remove all those versions, and then you can remove the dependencies as well. Okay, so we are done with that. Now let's click on this get started, and let's open this link. Okay, so in this link it will talk about how we can get started with my PowerShell SDK, and this is again gonna query from Microsoft Graph API. So let's check the permission first, and ensure that yes, we are good with the permission, and if not, then we will allow the permission. So to find uh, mggraph command cmd let, okay, this will show this output that yes, we have the necessary permissions to run this. Okay, so I'm pasting this command and pressing the enter. Okay, so this command is actually looking for all sort of permissions which are required. Okay, now let's press enter, and let's wait for some time. So okay, so if you could see that there are permissions which are granted for some sort of applications, device management and all. So we are almost done with all those permissions. So users and device permissions are almost there. So we are good to fetch the information for devices. We are good to fetch the information for the users and all. So let's look for a script which I have downloaded from Intune sample script. Okay, so let me see if I can. So first I did connect MG graph and I put my authentication. Now second thing, I'm just running this device configuration script, and I will see how does the response is coming. Okay, so it's just taking a little time. And okay, so I can see all the configuration and Android enterprise, policy details. I can see here if I go to my tenant and if I go to devices, and let's wait. So if I go to the configuration, okay, so I can see that the configuration file is created. So this one, Android enterprise, which is created, it's showing here. Okay, so which means that there is no assignment found for this, but this enterprise device configuration policy is there. All right, so this is perfect. Now let's go to run one other script and verify if that works. All right, so this is PowerShell Intune samples gallery that is available for uh, us, and we can download numerous scripts from there and we can verify. So next script, we are going to try to create new user in our Intune, and we'll see. So let's open this, and this is the script. Okay, so few things we are going to make changes here. For example, what given name I want to show. So I'm going to show this as a PowerShell, and surname is as a user. Okay, so this time we'll change this to CMD Let's, and mail nickname would be PowerShell, and the password I've already given India one, add 123. So that is fine. And domain name I'm already given, so in your purpose you can change the domain name accordingly. And so this script is, there is the JSON format which is there. So JSON variable will automatically read through graph API, and it will interact with the Intune and will change the things, and it will add the user basically. So let's clear and let's run this script. So this is create a new user, and let's enter. Okay, so now we'll run this once. So we'll use R as to create. So it's currently creating a user, and if you see the messages there showing user created successfully. Okay, so this PowerShell user has been successfully created. So let's check and verify in our Intune console. Okay, let's go here and let's go to users, and okay, and let's go to all users. All right, and just give some seconds, it's still loading. Okay, so we will see this PowerShell prompt. Okay, this has been created. All right, and let's check what is this user is all about. All right, so this is the users called PowerShell, last name was cmdm let. Okay, this is from PowerShell nickname, this is coming from United Kingdom, so we gave GB there, which is Great Britain. And yeah, so this script ran successfully, and I believe that was it. So one thing just to update here, just going to open my Microsoft portal.azure.com, which is for making some changes if I'm doing all these through automatically. Okay, so first I'll go to app registration. So what I'm going to do, if like now we were getting authenticated, for any application, but if we want to do all these automatic, okay, like for example one application we don't want to give the authentication again and again, so we can go to app registration. Okay, and here we are going to create a new registration. Okay, and this is gonna be a graph API. Okay, so because we are doing this from PowerShell, so we are just doing I'm just giving the name as PowerShell, uh, and just registering this application. That's it, because we are all these interacting with PowerShell. So this one is created, and uh, this is my display name. Okay, so this is, I'll just copy and paste. Wait a second. This is where I am going to save my client ID. All right, and this is my tenant ID. Okay, this is the tenant ID, and I'm just saving this. Now I need to create a authentication. Okay, I just to check authentication. I don't think we need to do anything. This is, let it be. Then let's go to add a certificate and secrets. Okay, so we'll go to certificates and secrets, and here we need to create a certificate. Okay, so let's create a new certificate. Let's give it a name as PowerShell uh, shell. Okay, and I'll choose the expiry as 6 months. That's fine, and let's add it. Okay, and now we just need to copy the value for this. Okay, PowerShell. All right, so I'll copy this as well as a secret. Okay, secret key, secret ID. So whenever I'm doing any automation, okay, where I don't require any interaction for the user, I don't require any sort of permissions given by manually, like he's just authenticating. So like at night 3 o'clock, I don't want a physical appearance of a human to interact with the application and prompt enter the login credential. So this is how the automation will work. So this is currently as a user read permission is given, which is a delegated permission, which does not work automatically. We need to set few more permissions here. Okay, so let's go to permission. Okay, and let's go to Microsoft Graph and look for the application permission, and let's go for the device. Okay, so here if I go to device management, manage device, I need to authenticate. Okay, so I'll do the read all permission, read and write permission and all. Then I'll go to user. Okay, and user is I think the last option comes as a user. And here I will just give the permission for all sort of delegation permissions for the user. So I can do restore, delete, enable, disable, read, write, maybe manage identities. So I'm just setting up all because it's just a tenant and I'm just running it for demo. So all the permissions I'll kept open. Okay, if anything additional if I require, I may do that setup. But let me see what else I can do here. For example, let me go. No, devices already done. uh Let me see what else I can add it here. Okay, so let's see if there is any branding or something that is there. Okay, let's go to organization. Nothing is there. Organizational branding, yes. So I'll just give a permissions to read and write organizational branding. That's it. I don't think anything else that is needed right now. I mean, we are almost good with it. So nothing more that I feel is required for the demonstration. Okay, but you can definitely tweak all these at your end according to the permission. Whatever task you are going to achieve, you can simply add those permissions. So I'm just adding this. Okay, so all these permission are given but the status showing not granted, so we need to grant these permissions. Otherwise these permissions won't work. Okay, so you need to click on grant. So don't forget, this is really necessary task. You need to grant admin consent. Okay, so this is where you need to click on yes, and you need to allow yourself as a as an organization, you are allowing consent for this application. So this application can do all sort of these permissions, okay, without any intervention. So I'm done. I can see the grant consent is given, and I see those all in green, which means that everything is set up accordingly. So now anything which you are gonna run through PowerShell, and if you don't require a human intervention here. Okay, it can simply authenticate by itself and can read write the permission. So everything can be done from here. Okay, so just to check, graph authentication is there, and PowerShell gallery, everything is looking fine, all is good. Okay, so this is how you can connect. So each time if you are opening a PowerShell, you need to connect. Okay, so connect .mg graph. Okay, you need to connect using your credential, and it's one time until that PowerShell window is not closed. You are able to interact with your Intune using the Graph API. Okay, so that was it for this demonstration session, and this is how you look for the command and you can interact all sort of things. So here everything is as per the module and as per the repository, it's everything is there, and you can tweak it, you can make changes, and you can do all sort of device administration thing and user thing, all sort of Intune relevant tasks you can do. Thank you, take care.